Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show, where you'll find health and fitness inspiration, motivation, and information shared in 15-minute episodes. Tune in while getting a move on to make leading and enjoying the benefits of a healthy lifestyle almost too easy. It's the Fit 15. And now your host, Catherine Basu.
Welcome to the Fit 15 podcast show. I'm your host, Catherine Basu, and if you're new here, you might not know this, but I'm pretty passionate about running and giving back. And yesterday's episode was one example of that. I had on Christian Garcia, and he talked about his race for the Sea Lab, which he created to raise funds for the Sea Lab Aquarium in Redondo Beach, California, in order to give back to the organization which has meant so much to him. So definitely go and check out that episode and consider donating to Christian's fundraiser to help him reach his goal to give back to the organization that's helped him a lot and has helped a lot of other youth in the area in their 20 years of existing there in Redondo Beach. And a few episodes before that, on episode 35, I interviewed Gene Gurkoff, who is the founder of the Charity Miles app, which is my personal favorite running app. Definitely encourage you to go check out his story and download the app if you haven't already. We have a small but mighty team over on the Charity Miles app that you can join for free. And while you are running, you can join us and raise money for your favorite charity anytime you complete a workout. So you don't have to bug your friends and family to be able to give back to your favorite nonprofit. Today on the show, I have the honor of interviewing a couple who has created an amazing organization, an amazing nonprofit that puts on virtual races. So these are races that you run at the location and time of your choosing in order to earn some cool race bling. And this particular series of virtual races is created to help raise money for different charities in the process. So super cool couple, really great concept. I know you're going to enjoy today's interview, and I have to tell you guys a little something before we dive into it. We were having so much fun on the interview that even though I got some great tips from the running couple who was on the podcast just a few episodes ago on how to interview and set up my technology for two guests, I broke my technology a little bit. We had to have a little bit of a break in between our more than 15-minute interview. So what I've decided to do is to break up the episode into two parts because I really enjoyed our conversation and I didn't want to have to cut it down that much. So I think you guys are going to enjoy it too. Without further ado, I want to introduce you to my guests. So we have Brian Biggs and Dawn Biggs. Brian Biggs is the CEO, president, and co-founder of Random Tuesday Inc., aka RTI, and his wife, Dawn Biggs, is the CCO, board member, and co-founder with him. First, I'll share a little bit more about Brian Biggs. In the land of geeks, Brian Biggs is king. With vast amounts of mental storage dedicated to sci-fi and fantasy knowledge, Brian fully embraces all things geek. His dream is to fly his TARDIS to Hogwarts in order to leave the Shire and learn the ways of the Force. In 2014, having just discovered the joy of long-distance running, Brian started Hogwarts Running Club, which eventually became RTI, Random Tuesday Inc. His initial goal was to raise $500 for cancer research. Millions of dollars and millions of miles later. Can you guys believe that? I'm going to stop my official bio reading and just have you soak that in for a minute. It's only been 4 years and it's been millions of dollars and millions of miles. Pretty impressive. But I digress. Brian's impossible idea to change lives and change the world through the power of fandom has become a reality. Besides spending time with his wife and daughter, his greatest joy is seeing the impact these programs have had on the lives of members and deserving charities. He has successfully completed 2 marathons and more than 25 half marathons since 2014 and is working to complete a half marathon in all 50 states. In addition to his nonprofit work, Brian is also a colonel in the United States Air Force Reserve. He holds a master's degree in military operational art and science from Air University, served as an intern with the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, and is a veteran of Operations Enduring Freedom and Southern Watch. Brian's wife is Dawn Biggs. She is the CCO, board member, and co-founder of RTI, and she has 2 decades of experience in art photography and graphic design. She co-founded RTI with her husband when his impossible idea became an official 501c3 organization in 2015. Dawn identifies with nearly all of the Hogwarts houses and enjoys Doctor Who, but her true passion is undoubtedly Gilmore Girls. She talks fast, worships coffee, named her daughter Rory, and lives in a picturesque Connecticut town. While she has completed 8 half marathons, movement on foot is merely a winter fitness substitute while she waits for Long Island Sound to warm up enough for her to get her paddleboard on the water. Dawn graduated summa cum laude from Middle Georgia State University with a degree in psychology in 2016 and is an ardent advocate for mental health and gender equality. With Dawn, the patriarchy doesn't stand a chance. Welcome, Dawn and Brian. I'm so excited to have you as guests today.
Thank you.
So,
thank you. Hello.
Hello. So I found out about you guys because I had a client who kept encouraging me to host a virtual race for my fitness company, Fit Armadillo. And I kept putting it off and telling her it was going to be a lot of work. And then she very sweetly did all the logistical work for me and research on how to create medals and get all that together. And then she shared your company with me and told me that I could run this race and organize it for my fans and clients and also be able to give back like you guys have been doing. And that's what sealed the deal and had us create our first race to give back to one of my favorite nonprofits, Girls in the Run, which was super fun, and we were able to raise some funds for them, but nowhere near what you guys have been able to do in just the 4 years since you got started in 2014. So we'd love to have you fill in some of the gaps from your bios there and tell us how this has all gone from starting out in 2014 to just 4 years later having such a big impact.
Insanity. That's how we describe it. It's just absolute insanity.
And a little bit of magic.
And quite a bit of magic. We didn't have any idea.
Speaking of magic, we are magically already halfway through the 15-minute point. So if you need to turn around because you're only joining us for 15 minutes and on that out and back walk, make sure you do so now. All right, back to Dawn and Brian.
When we started this whole thing, that it would grow to the level that it has grown to. It's been pretty amazing.
Yeah.
We started out in 2014, as my bio said, with the goal of raising $500 for cancer research. And just in the last couple of days, we have just cleared $2 million.
Wow.
Total, donated to over 40 charities. We've got tens of thousands of members now in over 60 countries around the world, all 50 states, every Canadian province, except for Nunavut. If there's any people from Nunavut listening, come join Hogwarts Running Club. Uh-huh. And but even beyond all the dollars, our members have logged 6.5 million miles just for Hogwarts alone. Whovian is coming up on 1 million miles. Chilton Running Club will clear 500,000 miles completed by the end of this week.
Wow.
And so when you tally that all together, 8 million miles logged for their own personal physical fitness.
Wow.
The mission of Random Tuesday is to harness the power of fandom, to inspire communities of fans to be more physically active while raising money for awesome charities. So the raising money for charities is actually secondary to our primary mission of inspiring people to be more physically active. And we've absolutely accomplished that goal 8 million miles later.
Yeah, I definitely would agree with you there. That's really inspiring and really cool, especially in the short amount of time you've been able to accomplish that. Curious with the charity piece and adding that in, how did that start? What inspired you to want to raise the $500 for cancer research before everything else ended up happening and more charities ended up being able to be positively impacted by what you guys are doing?
Well, back in 2014, it actually starts in 2013.
Mhm.
Dawn got a call from one of her cousins saying, "Hey, let's do a half marathon down in Florida, just us cousins and Dawn's aunt down in St. Pete's,
Mhm.
Florida." And
And then when I stopped laughing,
and she told me, and I stopped laughing. Dawn actually said, "Do you want to do it? Do you want to do it too?" And I said, "Oh, heck no! I'm in the Air Force. I do 1.5 miles every 6 months. That's all I do. I'm never doing a half marathon. Heck no! I'll drive 13 miles, but that's it." But it all started with Dawn and that call from her cousin, because it was Thanksgiving of or November of 2013.
Mhm.
Dawn went down to Florida and completed her first half marathon, and I went down with the rest of the husbands and kids to cheer them on. And there at the finish line, I saw the excitement and the energy, and I saw Dawn's really big medal that she got. I wanted one of those. Those are cool. And I literally ran my first 10K 3 days later.
Oh, wow.
Wearing like just my normal tennis shoes and jeans and a hoodie on the
Jerk.
coldest.
And he ran the whole thing. I'm going to interrupt you right there. He ran the whole thing. He did not walk. He just decided, I'm going to run a 10K. And he ran a 10K, and he didn't stop to walk or anything. And he hadn't trained even a little bit, the jerk.
I did do it
Carry on, honey.
and I did do it in less than, I did it in 55 minutes. But I was dying for days afterwards. So training is all about how well you recover later.
Yeah.
How many weeks will I be in pain? It's directly proportional to how much you've trained. But I got into I caught the running bug, and I started training. I signed up for my first half. I did my first half in January of 2014.
Mhm.
Ironically, got the bib number 2014 just by sheer dumb luck. That was awesome. And I went back to St. Pete's to go do it. Because I was like, hey, I already know this place is a good place to do half marathons, and it's flat, so I'll do it there.
Yep.
And then Dawn did her second half with me. We went to South Carolina. We started doing all these half marathons, making plans. We're doing racecations. And I was like, you know what? I see all these people raising money for charity. Dawn and I decided we're gonna raise money for charity too. So we both did the sponsorship model that so many people are aware of. You send emails and phone calls and whatnot to your friends and family. And after a couple of weeks, and I had only raised like $65, and Dawn had raised like $140.
Okay,
I won.
She won that one.
But our friends we realized that all of our friends and family are really cheap, and it just wasn't working. We weren't getting. Our goal was $500 for Dana-Farber Cancer Institute in Boston. I'd worked with Dana-Farber on the Jimmy Fund when I was in college, and so that's something near and dear in my heart.
Sure.
Pediatric cancer is one of the great evils of the world and needs to be snuffed out.
Yep.
And so I was like, I need to find something else. Around that time, a friend of mine introduced me to the concept of virtual running. There was a Star Wars theme group which went defunct and then came back and then went defunct again. And I think they're still gone now. I don't think they're still in existence. But she introduced the concept of virtual running, and I was like, well, what fandom am I, passionate about? I'm a super geek. Well, Harry Potter leaps to mind, but I'm sure Harry Potter's already been taken. And I looked, and it hadn't been. And so March 6, 2014, Hogwarts Running Club was born. I did that first post on Facebook. We launched the Sorcerer's Stone 5K. Again, with that goal of $500, 32 people signed up. And, our second event with the Chamber of Secrets 10K a month later, 33 people signed up. So that's like 5% growth, that's awesome, And by the end of the first year, we'd raised $10,670 for the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute.
Wow. And
we sent the check in, and I got a letter back from Dana-Farber made out to Mr. Higgs, Higgs.
Yep.
Now, I'm not looking for fame or glory, but can you at least spell my name right on your letter? And about that exact same time, one of our members told us about a nonprofit she was involved in, her daughter was involved in, that was helping kids with cystic fibrosis. And we decided that a new model needed to be put in place. And so we started changing the charity partner for every event. So each event supported a different charity partner. By doing that, we could impact these smaller direct impact charities. Because I realized that Dana-Farber, while they're a phenomenal organization, they're a $200 million a year fundraising beast.
Mm-hmm.
They're not hurting for cash. And our $10,000 was the spare change found in the ashtray in the abandoned car in the back lot of their second facility. I mean, it was nothing. But this group called Miles for Cystic Fibrosis and Rosebuds, their annual budget was only about $40,000 a year. If we gave them $10,000, well, that would make a huge impact to the work they're doing. As it turns out, we gave them $45,000 and exceeded their annual budget for the year.
Wow.
Because
that was awesome.
That was awesome.
Wow.
In our second year, we went from $10,000 donated to $400,000 donated.
Wow. That's
because
awesome.
People found out about us and it took off.
Yeah. That is amazing. And so I guess, what's really cool too, because you guys basically mentioned this in sharing that story, but I'm noticing like the 2014, I mean, it was, you just kind of, as part of your journey has been getting into fitness while encouraging all these other people to start, maybe not getting into fitness in general, because obviously you're probably pretty fit from the work that you do, but at least having it be a bigger part of your life in the running aspects. That's pretty cool that you've been able to go on that journey with all of your runners as well.
Absolutely.
Well, and it's a journey for us too. I mean, you cannot see us on this podcast, but we are just, average middle-aged people trying to, we have our own, we are not, I'm not Shalane Flanagan. I am 5'2". I am 43, almost 44 years old. I am overweight. And so it's a journey for both of us to, keep ourselves moving, keep ourselves fit and healthy. But we are by no means like the stereotypical, marathon runner types that, can fly through a race no problem.
Right.
I struggle.
Yep.
So, just to kind of, change that stereotype of what a runner looks like, what a runner is. If you're out there and you're moving, you're a runner. Even if it takes you 16 minutes to cover a mile, you're still covering that same mile that the 6-minute miler is doing.
Yep.
It's still a mile. It's still forward motion.
See?
So
no, I
I
definitely
just wanted to add that.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I meet people sometimes like, you run? Like, well, I'm not really a runner. I only run 3 miles, or this is my pace. And I agree with you. If you're out there and you're moving, you're a runner. It's okay.
Yeah.
You're a marathoner.
I like to say that, no matter who you are, no matter how fast you're going, you're still lapping everyone who's on the couch.
Did those of you who are walking and listening hear that? You're still lapping everyone on the couch, even if you're just walking today. Proud of you for getting out there. As I mentioned in the intro, this is Catherine in case you haven't figured that out, I decided to break today's episode up into 2 parts. So this was part 1 of the episode with Dawn and Brian Biggs. Tomorrow we will continue our conversation and you will get to hear about one of the many inspirational virtual runners who's been positively impacted by Random Tuesday Inc. So don't forget to tune back in. Before you do, if you want to go over and head on over to their website, ran2.org, that's RAN and then TUE.org, not com, you can learn more about some of the great races that are coming up in just the next few weeks. So check out their webpage, find a race that speaks to you or a charity that speaks to you, and sign up, and then get ready to be inspired even more when we come back tomorrow and continue our conversation. So subscribe, and I will chat with you then. All right. See you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Fit 15. For show notes and more, visit fitarmadillo.com/podcast. See you next time.